Hello friends, welcome to another episode of Blossoms and Bourbon. My name is Mark. I'm the owner here at Creative Occasions. Welcome to my workroom. Today we are going to work on a fall centerpiece. Now this could, fast forward to Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is late this year, so this is certainly something you could do for that occasion, or really for any fall evening or event that you're having in your home and need a centerpiece for your table. While I'm working, I'm going to be sipping on this Tennessee Crown Bourbon whiskey, which actually all the descriptions I can find say it has roots in Tennessee, but it's bottled in Galveston, Texas. I'm not sure about the connection there. It's an 80 proof, 6-year. I confess I sipped just a little bit before we started filming, and it's a very subtle, you get a little fruity cherry kind of note to it. There's not a great deal of spice to it, which is probably good for those of you who don't like spice like me. But it's a very short finish. It kind of reads like a less mature kind of bourbon. So anywho, give it a whirl. My son also picked that one up when he was in Tennessee recently. So thanks, Jared. Appreciate that. All right. We're starting out with this low bowl, which is a great container, size, shape, all that kind of stuff for the center of a table for a dinner. I'm keeping the foam in it kind of low because I don't want that to become an element. I don't have to worry about covering too much of it. And I'm just gonna do kind of a grid network of these birch branches that will lay right across it. And I'm using these Dixon pins. You recall the Dixon pin is the one where there's a little metal hinge in the center and you just bend the pin or the two wooden ends around. It creates a little hinge, and you can use that to attach something to foam. The deal about that is that the moisture in the foam will make the stick swell up and it will hold those in place. I also love the fact that this is going to be a long arrangement. So for a dining room table, it would work well to run down the center of a rectangular table, or an oval table. Would work great for Thanksgiving holiday. We're not going to have quite enough time to let the moisture absorb into those wood picks on the Dixon pins. So we're just going to work with it as though that's going to, be very stable. It would be, certainly. We can add a little bit of water to it, which will help with that process. I'm going to start out with a little bit of seeded eucalyptus. This is called seeded, as you probably might have guessed, because it has little seeds on it. And it has that lovely kind of bluish green coloration to it. I love how it just kind of drapes over. So I want to just kind of work that into the center part here so that it is kind of laying over the edge of those birch branches. This arrangement is definitely one that you would want to have visible on both sides. It needs to be finished on both sides, particularly if it's going to be on your dining room table for the holidays. Another thing I like about seeded eucalyptus is those little textural berries that grow on there, especially for fall. I think that's really nice because it seems more like fall when you have berries and all that texture involved. All right, so we're going to use some Florida ruscus, Israeli ruscus. It goes by several different names. It's that one that, as I'm doing here, can easily be sectioned into those shorter lengths. And I'm just going to pop a little bit of that in so that we are beginning to cover up the mechanics here. But that's just kind of, as you can see from the camera above me, that's just kind of a basic covering for the foam to kind of get us ready for the floral materials. I want to do the bigger materials first because I want to kind of get those in place. Then we'll kind of work some smaller materials around them. I just think you can't beat these beautiful sort of golden sunflowers for an occasion like a fall dinner. And as you've seen me do before, I love to stair step them, kind of create levels with that. Again, because we're doing this for visibility on both sides, I'm going to create a similar one over on this side. These are not local sunflowers. I think the local sunflowers here have just about gone, but these have been quite beautiful. Now we're going to extend the line again, following those birch branches with a little bit of this solidago. I'm going to put one piece on each side and just basically kind of work it through the branch into the foam, just so it kind of lays out there. Next up, some beautiful fall cremons. I've used these before in fall arrangements with you guys, and I love the coloration of this, that kind of rust gold, almost some burgundy tones in there. Super nice. By the way, if you guys are enjoying these videos, and we so appreciate you taking the time to watch them, please be sure to like them. Please be sure to subscribe, hit that little bell icon so that you'll be notified of new content. So the general kind of crux of this arrangement is going to be very low, but very textural. I want to maintain some of the visibility of that orange container. I actually want that to be kind of a part of the design. And relating to the color palette of the orange, I've got this beautiful dyed yarrow that pulls in the orange color very beautifully, as does this celosia. Now the celosia I'm going to use to kind of open up the arrangement a little bit, to begin to kind of give it some air, give it some more volume without really increasing the density of the flowers. This is still a good height for dinner when people are seated at your table, because it allows people to see over the arrangement. We kind of have a rule of thumb here at the shop when we're doing events where people are seated at dinner tables, and that is about 12 to 14 inches. The flowers should be below that, or come up here to about 30 inches, and the flowers should be above that. So this zone in there between 14 inches and about 30 inches allows for visibility of the guests across the table. I think for a social event like a dinner where people are sitting together and chatting and having conversation, that's super important. Somebody's going to ask me the name of this rose and I don't know it. It's this beautiful kind of dark coppery terracotta orangey red color. I don't know. Those are all the descriptors I can think of, but it's beautiful. It seemed to fit very nicely with the colorway of this arrangement we're doing. So I have kind of a general question for you guys. Do you think that retail is pushing the holidays too much? Are we pushing the fall seasons? You know, it's just now kind of the mid part of September, but yet Halloween is out in stores. Christmas is out in some stores. Is that too much? Is it something you're ready for? You want the pumpkin spice lattes and all the things that go with that? Where do you stand on that? I'd love to know. All right, this rose is a really beautiful rose, a newer variety that I hadn't seen a great deal. It's called Carmelo, and we are getting some requests in event world to do roses that are sort of a champagne taupe color, and this rose fits the bill very nicely for that. You'll notice sometimes that the insertion, the length of the stem of the rose is important in how the longevity of the arrangement works out. If you have a shorter stem and you just put it barely in the foam, A, it's not going to be very secure. B, it's not going to reach all the way down to the source of the water. And that's an important point in making sure that the flowers last a nice long time. Just be sure that as you're inserting flowers in the design, that you really push them in there, okay? It's an easy enough thing to do, which I've done many times. If you're in a hurry and you're trying to get something done quickly, you don't always get it down there as far as it needs to be. Dried lotus pods are next up. I just think you can't have too many of these. I love the texture of them. They kind of just scream fall. All right, I'm gonna go back and put just a little bit more of this solidago, again, to kind of help lighten it up just a little bit. And then we'll add a couple of tips of this seeded euc as well. And then I also want to I'm putting it down through the arrangement so it'll come up and through, and just kind of add a little more openness, a little more airiness to the arrangement, so that all doesn't have to be done at the beginning. In fact, it's better if it hasn't been done. I do really like how you can still see the edge of this bowl. So that orange, beautiful kind of crackled finish in the ceramic has become part of the arrangement, and I think that's super nice. This is a form of millet. And again, going with that whole thinking about how grains and berries just make me feel like fall. This millet certainly does the same thing. Don't throw this away. This is a great little addition, a little textural, wispy element of the foliage. I am kind of being aware of doing kind of an opposite sort of scenario. I put one here, so I'm going to come over on the other side and put one here so that there is some balance to that part of the arrangement. What do you think? I think that's nice. That would work for Thanksgiving, a fall dinner. Not a ton of material. Certainly for Thanksgiving, I think about, having lots of kind of excessive amounts of material. This really doesn't have a ton of things in it. Partly it's larger because of the bowl size that we're using. But, use that as you may. Get some extra foliages from your yard and fill in some space with the foliage. Use the few blooms that you have. It will be lovely. Thank you. Thanks for staying with us and for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode as much as we've enjoyed making it for you. And until next time, cheers to you and to flowers every day.